You're listening to Mind, Body, Home with your host, Sara Ann.
Wendy Yawching is a former airline captain, master Feng Shui consultant, and founder of Healing Spaces Caribbean. Our conversation is perfectly fitting for summer because we're talking about travel and how Feng Shui can support your desire to travel more or ease your anxiety around travel, and how your own personal energy or qi determines your environment outside of your home or comfort zone. Wendy's mission and her passions are encapsulated in the words healing spaces, Feng Shui for life. Her favorite phrase, as you'll hear, is it's all about the qi. Wendy conducts intimate personal and business consultations, provides workshop trainings and mentoring services, and helps her clients transform personal and business lives by changing the qi of both their inner world and outer spaces. In 2022, Wendy published her first book, The Courage to Fly, and it has been hailed as an inspirational handbook for women and girls of all ages, resulting in invitations to magazine and TV interviews, podcasts, book club events, and motivational speaking engagements. Her book isn't just for women and girls, however, it does provide inspiration for anyone who is feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or afraid and needs help to find their own wings. This conversation is especially fitting for me as I'm planning to fly this coming weekend, and so I can definitely utilize some of the tools and practices that Wendy's provided. Enjoy today's conversation.
So let's jump in. I would think I want to start with just the travel industry in general. I think it's really booming right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with COVID, right? We were so restricted from travel that I think now people are really starting to realize how important travel was or is in their life, right? Especially as it relates to their overall well-being. If you just look at things like retreats and them catering to the wellness industry and offering opportunities for self-cultivation, that's huge right now. So travel in general, in my opinion, is a big deal. And I wanted to have a conversation around it, not just in travel in general, but, the fact that it's an area on the Bagua map. Not everybody knows about that. I don't think it gets as much recognition as other areas like health, wealth, career, love. But you and I know that activating this area of your home can help support all of those areas, right? So I'd love to open up the conversation around that and your thoughts on this.
So, Sarah, I was a pilot. And so travel was in my DNA. Travel was what I did. And I've realized that even after retiring from being a pilot, travel is still in my heart. And COVID, of course, put a lockdown on that for all of us. So when COVID was no longer a big issue, the feeling of wanting to travel came back big and large, I think, for myself and for everyone. And I think the airlines and various industries are dealing with that surge. And I realize there's something inside all of us that just wants to travel, needs to travel, whether we do it as armchair travelers or we do it in reality. Why do we want to travel? I think because travel to us represents a change of chi. It represents maybe pleasure, adventure, romance, business, medical, changing your medical situation. Whenever we think of travel, we're going to do something that brings a different energy into our life, a different chi into our life, a different experience. So we all have inside of us the desire to change our chi at certain parts of our life. So I think travel is something that's not going to go away. And I think that if we can support ourselves in the desire to travel, in whatever way we can travel, whether it be by bicycle or by airplane or by boat, we are actually satisfying a need we have in ourselves to bring new energy into our life and into our insides. So that's my feeling. Now, as you said, on the Bagua, everybody focuses on health and money and love, but few people go to what I call the bottom right of the Bagua, which is the Gua called Chen, Qian, which represents both helpful people and travel. And most people, when they go there, they go for the helpful people. They need help. They go and they do something in their own Bagua to support the energy of Chen. But travel lives there too. So my suggestion is that if travel is a bug that you have, as I do, then go to your bottom right part of your home, and depending on the approach that you have to Feng Shui, I am BTB, it is when you stand at your front door, the area of your home to the right side, the right bottom corner of the Bagua. Look at that area and see what's the message you're giving in that area right now. What is the message? Is it cluttered? Is it dirty? Is it neglected? Is it used as a storage room? Is it a bathroom? And see, how can I enhance that area to support the energy of travel? And there's many things one can do to support the energy of any part of your Bagua, as you know, Sarah. But start first with looking at it and saying, what is it giving out now? What's the energy of it now? What can I do to make it better? And it usually starts with cleaning it out and clearing it out, and perhaps doing a little ceremony to change the energy of it, to bless it, to open up the energy to new things. And then add touches that support the energy of that part of the Bagua with a specific intention to support your travel dreams and your travel plans and your imminent travel. And there are many things we can do to support that.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the decluttering part. I know that my audience knows that that is step one, right? And I love hearing other practitioners come on and say the same thing. It's like, clear that out. So you often say it's all about the chi. And I love this saying because I think that when most people hear anyone speak about Feng Shui, they immediately think of their home or their office, right? Just any space in general. But we also have personal chi, and that also contributes to our environment. What can you share about how our personal chi interacts with our home environment?
Sarah, you're touching something very dear to my heart. My approach to Feng Shui, again, I'm BTB based, but my approach to Feng Shui is that it's all about the chi, and that our chi, the chi of our life experience starts within. So when I am working with someone to elevate the chi of their life, it starts with their inner chi. So what's inside, we look at that first. We see what's coming up and what needs to maybe be released, decluttered, and what we can do to smooth and harmonize and rebalance. And then I look at the outside to see what is affecting them personally and what can be shifted, the outside environment, what can be shifted to help support the new chi that they want to support in themselves. So in other words, it starts with you. And then your environment is either helping you or hurting you, or not doing very much for you. We then adjust the environment to suit. I don't just go straight to your house or your bedroom. I go to you first. So everything starts with inside. And the energy that you bring to your life, supported by your environment, in my mind, is the basic formula everyone needs for a wonderful and successful life.
I love that. I love that. And I think as we're talking about travel as the topic of today's conversation, I love hearing you say that our personal chi affects our environment. And when we travel, our environment changes. And so we can enhance and prepare our own personal chi before we take it out into the world, right?
Mm-hmm. And during. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's look at it this way. So you want to travel. You know that you're going to do something to your home chi, your home Bagua, to support the energy of your travel, because you are going to travel because you want to expand or change your personal chi by whatever it is you're going to find in your travels. Let's say, like me, you want to go travel because you want to learn new cultures or do adventure in that particular country. That's one way of expanding my personal chi and strengthening it and making me happy. Or I might be traveling for business reasons and new opportunities exist. And I know I want to support that. So before I go, I'm going to take care of my Bagua at home, and I'm going to prepare myself for the fact that when I go, I want to be successful in my business. Whatever your reason for travel, remember this: when you travel, you're stepping away from your home, your comfort zone, the Bagua that you have adjusted and prepared. You're stepping into other environments. You can't always adjust or affect those environments to your liking. You're going onto an airplane, that's an environment of its own. You're going onto a boat, you're going onto a train or a car, whatever. You're going to be in another country or place that is different, where you may have little control over the environment. What you can control is your personal chi that you bring into that space. And that's what I focus on when people are talking about the Feng Shui of travel. What you bring will affect your environment, the new environment, and your experience of it. And then, yes, if you can tweak things there because you have a room of your own and you can put your little Feng Shui magic there, great. But if not, if you have no control over the environment to which you're traveling, then make sure you go with your inner environment as strong, powerful, and supported as you can. The feng shui of travel.
I think that that's a really good segue into airline travel specifically. And I think you're the perfect person to talk to. You're a former airline captain, right? So um, I know you have some really wonderful tips for people who might be afraid of travel. And I recently saw an Instagram post that went pretty viral, and it was kind of a funny meme of, the person experiencing disruption on the plane or maybe just some turbulence. And she was saying in her post that she never really was afraid of travel, but it's really only in recent years she's really become very fearful of travel. And she loves traveling to new places and new destinations, but the airline piece really stresses her out. And for some people, even I know personally, restricts them from traveling, right? Because they're so afraid of that airline piece. And you did a webinar on this, Feng Shui for frequent flyers. That was an amazing webinar. I really got a lot out of that. So I would love for you to share a little bit about that here. And really what stood out to me was how there's, this mental, physical, emotional stress when flying, right? And because I think that people who have fears, regardless of what they are, sometimes they can be a little irrational, right? And I think it's because they just don't know where the fear is stemming from. So, I know once we have a little understanding, once we have a little knowledge about what's really going on, then we can change our circumstance and how we approach in this situation travel, right? So what can you speak to sort of those stressors? Why is traveling, airline travel specifically, why is it so stressful for people?
That's a big question. And at the time, I'm going to summarize it here. As you said, I have a whole, podcast, a webinar about that. So I love travel and I love airplanes. But I recognize over time that airplane travel is really hard on me, both physically and mentally, emotionally, energetically, the whole bit. And as an experienced traveler, if I felt like that, believe me, people who already find travel a little daunting, the actual getting from A to B, would be more affected as well. I'm aware of my personal chi, and many people aren't. So they'll find the effect is, as you say, scary because they don't know why they're feeling that way. To summarize it, when we leave our homes and we head to the airport and we go through all the drama of the airport and we get on an airplane and we take off into the skies to go somewhere else, very exciting destination, we put ourselves through a lot of emotional stresses. And sometimes you're not even aware of it. Leaving your comfort level, your home base, traveling in traffic or on the subway or the bus or whatever to get to the airport, all the dramas of the airport and the delays, if there's delays and weather, they're affecting us energetically. Many people don't respond well to things like that. Then you get on the plane and they close the doors and lock you up into this beautiful metal tube full of a lot of people, all of them feeling a little bit uncomfortable about this strange place that they are. They're going to a new place, they're going to a new experience. The energy of the people on the airplane, all locked up in this tube, is affecting each of us because we are sensitive beings and we pick up the energies around us. So you are in a very uncomfortable, I guess, energetic environment when you're actually locked into an airplane with other people. Now here we are flying off into the skies, and it's all very strange and very new, and you actually have no control over your life. You're dependent on the pilots, you're dependent on the airplane, you're dependent on the weather, you're dependent on. And that puts discomfort into our souls. So we are affected energetically by the act of travel. When you get there, customs might rough you up or immigration, and then you still have to go to a new place and learn how to handle yourself there. So the act of actually getting from here to there isn't always a joyous experience. In fact, it's usually an exhausting experience to your energy. Now, physically, airplane travel has a lot of challenges, both the physical fact of moving and all those big airports and traveling for 12 hours and the other end of the trip, exhausting. Your circadian rhythms, your sleep rhythms, most flights tend to leave at 3 in the morning, I've found. Very uncomfortable for people like me who like to sleep in the night. Jet lag, the actual airplane environment is not supportive to best health. The air is not so great. The oxygen is less than you would normally have. The food and drink that you eat, you tend not to eat the best when you're traveling because you grab what you can get. And so you are putting food and drink into your body and air that is not going to support your best body functions, and your circadian rhythms are affected. So it's really challenging to our bodies, especially if you're talking long travel, long flights. Short flights, not so much. So it is in our best interest then to know these things are going to happen, know that's part of the deal. It's like buying the ticket, and take precautions for ourselves. A little wisdom, as Sarah's saying, goes a long way. So I say, prepare yourself for that trip. Get yourself as healthy as you can energetically and physically before the trip. Take along some support for yourself on the trip. This is all what Feng Shui does, gives you the knowledge and the understanding of how things are affecting you and ways to help deal with it. And then enjoy the trip. And when you get to the other end, remember to take care of yourself, rest, ground, and keep doing good stuff for yourself, because you've just put your body through an energetic and physical ringer, traveling, especially on a long flight from A to B. And yeah, go have fun after that, but take care of yourself along the way. So you were asking, Sarah, what kind of things you can do to take care of yourself? I would say, for me, it starts with, before my travel day, making a plan. Preparing before the trip. Don't just turn up at the airport. You got to pack, you got to book the flights, you got to book the hotels or the Airbnb. Plan also for taking care of yourself. So I start with a chi support plan, I call it, or chi plan, or cheat sheet. Make a plan for yourself. And on that plan, any little rituals or practices that help you feel calm and centered, that strengthen your personal chi, that help you manage stress. And if you're nervous about flying before the flight, that help you feel protected. Depending on your personal background and lifestyle and belief system, these could be different from mine. So for me, I would use BTB practices and meditations and mantras for calming and centering and strengthening my chi, but you might use something else. I might use, again, I have my own little BTB mantras for protection. And for stress management, I do pranayama and I do meditation. So that if something happens on the flight or in the airport that I don't like, I might go into a meditative moment and center myself and reconnect with who I really am and feel better, even though the situation has not changed, but how I feel about it has changed. I might do that. If you're not sure and you don't have these things as your fingertips, the way some of us might, then make a little plan and carry it with you on your phone or your device or on a notepad. And the moment you think you're feeling a little discombobulated, pull it out and go for it. Centering, what do I need? I need to calm down. Okay, what do I have here for calming down? Take a look and try it. And that, yep, it might look a little strange if you decide to get up and start practicing Tai Chi in the middle of the airplane. But if that's your go-to, then try it. So that's what I say. Make a little plan for addressing the energetic stresses. And energetic would be anything that affects you emotionally or mentally and in a negative way. As far as the physical stresses, the best things we can do, take care of our bodies before the flight. During the process of traveling, make sure you hydrate, eat healthy, light, energy-rich, organic if you can, water-rich foods, and rest when you come off. Go and ground yourself on the other side and rest and hydrate again and treat your body gently. Get a massage if you can at the end of a flight. All of those will help realign and rebalance your meridians that have been discombobulated. Again, I love that word, by the flying and leaving the earth and going up into heavens and relanding. Reground and rebalance. Take care of your body. Your body is your physical vessel for your chi. You want to treat it as kindly as you can, because the act of flying does not. Magical as it is, beautiful as it is, it's really hard. We are actually not birds. We are humans, and we started off on the ground. That period where we're up in the sky in a tube is not the easiest for our bodies. So take care of your body. Give yourself grace.
Those are all great. And I was sitting here making a list of, what is my chi support plan? Because I have definitely experienced, I don't have a strong fear of flying. But definitely, when there's bumps in the air and we hit that turbulence, your heart starts racing a little bit, right? And it really wasn't until I had children and started traveling with them that I realized I really needed to, get my own personal chi in order here. And so what are some of the tools that I can settle myself down in order? Because it's like you said, it's all of those people who are feeling a little bit of anxiety, and all of that energetic anxiety is bouncing off one another. And I think that's why it's so heightened in an airport. You can feel it. You can feel that anxiety when
Feel
you
it.
walk into an airport, when you walk into security, right? When you get on the plane. I mean, you and I know we're both very susceptible to feeling energy. So some of the tools I have is, you had mentioned mantras. I have a very simple mantra that, I am safe. I might do some tapping, right? I've shown my own daughter who she struggles with some anxiety. And so we've shown her some tapping techniques, malas, even if it's not the full one or just maybe a beaded bracelet and just counting the beads as you say your mantra over and over and recentering yourself. Because I know that panicky feeling, it can hit you sometimes what feels like out of nowhere,
And then
right?
it feeds on the energy around you, gets bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I love that. And some crystals too. I think crystals are always a good support to have in your back pocket or to
Ye-
wear.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, for people who like icons, if you know that you're going into an airplane situation where you feel uncomfortable or nervous or scared, if you have any icons that support your particular spiritual belief, whether it be a picture of your guru or a lucky rabbit's foot or the friend of the year god in Feng Shui, we might have that. Or you have, many Christians might have a cross or your Bible, whatever token or icon or physical object that makes you feel better when you hold on to it. If you get scared and you may not even be able to remember your mantra, then carry that with you in your cabin baggage, not in your suitcase, not in your check baggage. You want to have easy access to something like the mala that makes you feel good. And for crystals, a crystal in your palm that resonates calm to you will be very helpful, because then you hold the crystal, get its vibration as you say your little prayer mantra. And I love the one about I'm safe, I'm protected. Part of the fear people feel is because they're stepping into any vehicle really, but an airplane particularly so because it's leaving the earth. They're putting their life into the hands of strangers and a strange airplane into a strange environment, and they don't have any control. And many people just don't respond well to that, especially if you already have angst about the journey and you left your children behind because you're going on a business trip and you're feeling concerned. It just builds and builds. The energy, the layers of discomfort build and build. So anything you can do to calm and center and remove some of those layers is great. In terms of crystals, there's so many crystals, but depending on what you want to achieve, you can Google crystals, of course, and choose the ones that you love, because crystals talk to you. Some people love rose quartz, some people love amethyst. They all have their different properties. Choose the one that talks to you. But there's crystals for grounding, which if you're going in an airplane, are really handy to keep you grounded. And for EMF, which in an airplane, again, is really handy. And some of them actually are the same, like shungite and black tourmaline are good for both of them. So great to have in your little in-flight kit. And then you just hold it, all right, and talk to it and feel it, all right. And for healing, there's healing and calming. But for healing, there's things like rose quartz and smoky quartz and moonstone, really beautiful. For calming, because of that nervous feeling, moonstone, again, is a good double action one. And then there's amethyst, double action one. So again, you can have healing and calming in the same crystal, but choose a crystal that you love and one a size that you can actually carry and not weigh down your carry-on bag too heavily. And then if you are scared, if you feel you need protection, other than the icons that you can carry and the mantras, the protective prayer mantras that you can say, there's some crystals that help with protection. And again, I love amethyst because it's not only healing and calming, but it's also good for protection. And shungite and tourmalite are good for protection as well. So take a look at the crystals that you love that might be small enough to carry in your handbag and your hand, and you hold that crystal and feel comfortable that it's helping you with its energy.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about your book, The Courage to Fly. It's been an inspiration for women of all ages. I would love to just hear you share a little bit of your story and the inspiration behind your book.
I had someone see the book the other day, accidentally. I was traveling with the book and they said, "What's that?" And I showed them. And they hit the nail on the head. They said, "It's called The Courage to Fly. There's a picture of an airplane and myself in a pilot's uniform on it." And this person hit the nail on the head. They said, "This is not about being a pilot. This is a message for life, isn't it?" And I went, "Thank you." Because so many people think I'm a pilot writing about being a pilot and it's about being a pilot. And if they don't want to be a pilot, they don't have to read it. No, This book wasn't written because I needed to tell people what it is to be a pilot. It was written to help people believe that they could do anything that they wanted to, that they believed in, that they should follow their star, follow their dreams, no matter what the world told them. Because that was my story. That was my situation. For many years, as a little girl growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, at that time, the message was girls don't do that. And so girl didn't do that. The girl went and did a whole other life, and only learned when I was far away from home in another culture that girls could do anything they wanted. And that's when I started my pilot's journey. So I started it really late with no money and no support, no emotional support, nobody telling me I could from my family, people that mattered to me. And I persevered, and many years later, I became a pilot, and many, many years later, I became the first female jet captain in my country. And then I was considered, of course, then a role model, et cetera, et cetera. But the point is, if I had not believed in myself and my connection to the divine and the passion in my heart, I would never have gotten there. So my book was written to make sure that there aren't other, I would have to say females, but it's really for everyone. But females being, because that was my female journey in my country, men could do everything at that time. I want to make sure there aren't other females who are held back by that. And so that's why I wrote the book. It's an inspirational handbook for anyone who's having doubts about their ability to meet the challenges in their life and to go on to follow their dreams. And whatever their dreams are, nothing to do with being a pilot. Any dream that you have in your heart, follow what I call your ikigai, your passion. So that's what the book is about. And I'm very delighted by the responses I've gotten about how it's made people reassess their life choices and their lives. I had one 78-year-old man from Europe write me to say, after reading your book, I actually have gone back and started revisiting all the things that I never did that I always wanted to do because I thought I shouldn't because of his responsibilities. He said, before I die, I want to make sure that I have not turned my back on those things. So I'm starting to try. And it's really, the book should be called The Courage to Try, because whether you reach for the stars and you fall on the moon, it's so much better than never trying. Yeah?
Yes, I can't wait to read it. I'll be sure to put a link in the show notes for anyone else who would like to also take a peek at that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Sarah.
Absolutely. Wendy, where can people find you? How can they get in touch with you?
Thank you for that opportunity too. So I believe that it's all about the chi. And to maximize our life, we try to make sure that our inner chi and our outer chi are balanced and harmonious together, support each other. So that's why my brand is Healing Spaces Caribbean. Of course, I'm available worldwide, but I'm based in the Caribbean. And so I bring a special Caribbean viewpoint to things, tropical and colorful and wild and free. But it's about creating healing spaces. And I've found that my personal joy is teaching people how to do that. So I do more workshops and energy consultations and mentoring than other things. So my personal pleasure is working with people to change the inner chi and then working with them to adjust the outer chi to support itself. And my signature workshop that is just amazing, life-changing, like the book, is an energy vision board training that I do twice a year that has recharted the lives of many people. The feedback I get from that makes me humble. It's not a vision board course that you would recognize as a vision board course. It is an internal soul journey where your result is an energy vision board that expresses the chi of what you want in your life on a physical vision board. It's quite something. So that is my signature offering. And if anyone is interested in that, they can find the landing page for that from my Healing Spaces Caribbean website. Just go to my workshops and look for New Beginnings, the Ultimate Energy Vision Board Workshop. It's just amazing. And I have one coming up in September, Sarah.
September, I was going to ask because I have been seeing your testimonials for that. And I'm like, I'm checking that out.
I just got one yesterday from one of our Feng Shui experts who came to the last training. And he just gave me a wonderful review that I'm yet to post. So wonderful. I will. Yeah. It's not for Feng Shui people. It's for human beings who want to change their life. That's what this energy vision board is. And it goes beautifully with the book. Because again, it's about going inside and finding that chi, that energy that drives you, that you love, this thing that passions you up, and then believing in it. And it's the story of my book as well. So yeah, it's all alive.
I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people. So many people right now are asking that question, right? What is my purpose? what should I be doing, right? And sometimes they don't have the tools to navigate, where to go next. So I think what you're offering is going to hit home for a lot of people.
There, what I've found? They don't have the tools, but they also don't have the belief that they can. And
Mhm.
my message is, yes, you can. Yes, you can. So I help with
Mhm.
that. I help guide that.
Wendy, thank you so much for your presence and your wisdom today on the Mind Body Home podcast.
Sara, thank you for having me and for being such a wonderful host. Many blessings.
Contact information for Wendy can be found in the show notes, as well as links to her website, book, and vision board workshop. Be sure to follow Wendy on your preferred social media platform at Healing Spaces Caribbean. You can also connect with me on social at Jade Scott Design. And please remember to support the Mind Body Home podcast by leaving a positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. And lastly, just a reminder regarding the summer moving sale on my website, jadescottdesign.com. Right now, you can take 40% off your entire purchase and receive free shipping. No code is necessary as your discount is automatically applied at checkout. Jade Scott Design is in a state of transition and evolution, which is all very exciting. And so I appreciate the support that so many of you have already shown. A link to the shop is also provided in today's show notes. Until next week, I am sending you so much love and gratitude.